Your Journey to Healing, Reaching Women with a Desperate Cry is an 8-week Zoom seminar in which Kamala and Winston help women to start living their best life by rediscovering the image of God in their life. Kamala, a licensed marriage and family therapist, joins her husband of 16 years, an ordained pastor, to marry the clinical and the spiritual. You will begin living your best life filled with love, joy, and peace. Register at kwministries.net for this life-changing seminar.
So anxious resistant. So remember there were 4 categories, right? Mm-hmm. So anxious resistant kids were on the opposite end of the spectrum. They didn't have a lot of self-confidence. They really clung to their caregivers, whether it's parents. When I say caregivers, I mean parents, grandparents, just old people in their lives who were, really part of that initial bonding experience. For these kids, they tended to have really exaggerated emotional reactions to stuff, but they also kept the distance from their peers. How did this translate into adulthood? That translated into anxious, preoccupied adults. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of formed less secure bonds with partners and feel really desperate for love and affection.
God is patient. God is kind. God is long-suffering. God never fails. God always hopes. God always trusts. God always perseveres. God doesn't envy. God doesn't boast. God doesn't seek his own, but is always seeking what's best for you. God rejoices in the truth.
That's right.
God doesn't define love. God demonstrates love.
There's a commercial that used to say, "Don't leave home without it." I think it was MasterCard. And at the end, they would say, "You couldn't put a price on it. A price could not be put on what you and your wife did for me this week." And I'm just praying that your ministry will continue to be the blessing to others as it has been to me this week. Just the opening of the eyes, just seeing God's word with a whole different set of lenses, just understanding what is required of us and laying aside the misnomers, the erroneous teachings, the errors, and just accepting who I am in Christ. And no one else could tell me who I am but the Word.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with us all week long.
Thank you for being there with us.
All right.
Hello, good evening, and welcome back to Monday Night with KW.
I am excited to be on. Tired.
Yes. I really
Monday
appreciate
tired.
that you said that, because this program is all about authenticity, right?
It is.
We are having a Monday.
A Monday. But as tired as I am so excited to be here tonight. And I'm really excited about our guest.
Yes. For me, now you're acquainted with our guest.
Yes, I went to school with her.
I am not. And so it's always interesting to meet somebody new, hear
But
their story.
Let me ask you a question. The few minutes we spent with her before now, how do you feel?
She doesn't strike me as somebody I don't know.
It doesn't like
feel like I know her.
I'm excited. I'm really excited.
It's really like a comfortable exchange. So yeah, absolutely.
So what are we doing here? What's KW? Good night, Brother Glenn, my father-in-law.
All right. What is KW, you say?
Hi, Sister Sands.
Awesome. We got a couple people already on. So for those of you who may not know what KW is about, it's about having a place of authenticity. We started KW Ministries out of, and those of you who've been with us for a while, you've heard this already, but we started it out of a place of, some real hurt and pain and trying to start that journey of healing. And at some point along the way, after a couple of devotionals, we realized, it might be interesting to have a space where we could just share with other people, realizing that as alone as sometimes you feel in your own challenges, you're not.
You're not alone.
So many
there are other people who are going through, and we have experienced some really interesting journeys with individuals. One of my favorite was Rachel. We had Rachel on several months ago. Rachel came through a really bad divorce, but opted to stay within the same community for the sake of her child, and it was really, really good. And I'd be I want to hear Rachel come on again and tell us how she's doing. One of the strongest persons I've known. Kathia was on with you. She lost her mom.
Yep.
And we know how close they were. So we've had some really, really good journeys, and I believe this journey tonight is going to be really good also.
Yeah, I was thinking about, you're talking about some of the people that kind of stand out to you tonight, and I was thinking of Valine.
The leans are
was-
first. Was she our first or second?
No, but she was really early on, and she shared a really authentic, not authentic is not the word that I want. It was really raw, her experience of childhood trauma. And that I think was the first time we had gotten that deep with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, I want to use the word liberating, but I don't know if it's the best word, but liberating in the sense of enough with the masks, right? Enough with the facade. And I think a lot of the people that we've talked to have really opened up their experiences to us, to the world, really. And I think we've had so many people who've gotten a lot of benefit from that. I don't think tonight's going to be any different.
I don't. And one of the things about unmasking or being, Carl said we should have had him on with his sister Keisha. he needs a dial-in line so he can call into the show. Tonight is Keisha's night. One of the things about this kind of discussion is is freedom, and that's what Christ says. I've come that they might have life, have it more abundantly. Whom the Son sets free is really free.
Right.
But I don't want us to take much more time. So do your part, and then let's get Keisha in here.
My part. Okay. Guess what, guys? So, given that I
Anna Kay was ready,
the consummate salesperson. Part of what we'd like you to do is go check out our shop.
Carl, take out your credit card right now.
Online
Head over to kwministries.net/shop and buy something. Carl Brewer right now.
So while we're calling out Carl,
I can call him out like that.
I am calling out everyone to at least check it out. There's lots of great stuff. We've got books, we've got products, we've got so many things that we offer, and it's really come out of our own journey. So we just want to share that with you.
A good gift would be 8 steps, 8 coping skills to healing.
I wonder why.
Kamala wrote that, and it's really good. It's really good. Look, Anna Kay was ready for us. She's running it right down there.
She sure is.
8 coping skills to heal is a really good workbook to help us deal with stress. All right. So our guest tonight is an amazing person that I went to high school with. She's a singer. She's an actress. She's an amazing person. She has an amazing daughter who is doing some really great things. I hope she tells us about her. And she's just been on an amazing journey. And I'm so happy that Keisha agreed to talk to us tonight. And she will talk to us from her pain. But I also hope to hear from her triumphs because she's had some real nice victories. And so I'm looking forward to it. Keisha, won't you come on in and let's get this party rolling? And there we go. Hi, Keish.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
We're tired. We're tired, but
what did Kamala call it? It's a Monday.
It's a Monday.
All right. And I understood what you meant without even ever hearing that phrase before. I was like, oh, I know that.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It was a Monday for me too. Both like emotionally and just, oh man, again, starting work again.
Weekend wasn't long enough.
And the weekend wasn't enough. So, it was both of those for me. So yeah, it was a Monday.
Let me ask you a question. Let's start here. Mm-hmm. How do you cope with Monday? How do you cope with a Monday?
How I cope with the Monday? Well, Monday usually starts Sunday night when I'm going to sleep.
To prepare. My
mind is going about, we got to start work again. Oh my goodness, you're so tired. How are you going to make it? How are you going to do it? So it inserts that doubt. And then when I wake up, it starts talking again. So how I cope with a Monday is I I take a deep breath. I normally have like a morning devotion that usually starts my day. And I
Hi, Sister Martin. How are you? Keisha, you're frozen. While Keisha's coming, Kamala, could you tell us how do you cope with a Monday?
You know, I kind of was listening to where Keisha started, and it's really about what's that self-talk that I start in Sunday with. How am I preparing myself for the week? What are the things that I'm thinking about and anticipating that's leading to that kind of Monday dread of sorts? And I paused before I finished that statement about how I cope, because sometimes I think that we believe that Mondays only
Keisha will be
happen.
right back. We're just having some technical difficulties.
Sometimes we believe that a Monday only has to do with individuals who are not enjoying what they do, and that's not true.
No.
It's not true at all.
You have children. You have nobody believe the church. You have there all different kinds of stuff that happens on the weekend, while the weekend does not feel like it's long enough. Hey guys, don't leave us. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. See what's happening with Keish. We are so excited to have Keisha with us tonight. We apologize about that. Keisha, you start out with some devotions.
Yeah, so I start for Mondays. I start off with my devotions, and I start off with my positive affirmations, and then like I just tell myself, you don't know what the day is going to be like. You have not experienced those moments. You're just projecting into the future. And so I say, well, let's see what happens. Let's see how it goes, and then I just try to take every moment as it comes and not assume I know how the next moment's going to be. And when I do that, it like, I find I'm always surprised. I'm always pleasantly surprised. So I guess I found that most of my anxious moments only rest in my mind and not in the reality of the day.
Yes.
That's powerful. Most of my anxious moments mostly rest in my mind and not in the reality of the day. That's powerful.
I really like that you said that, Keish, because I was thinking to myself, that probably doesn't just translate to Mondays. I feel like that mindset translates into lots of different areas of your life, my life, somebody else's life, and somebody who's going to hear that and go, huh, I should let that translate into my life too. So I really love that.
Keish, we want to talk about your healing journey. Tell us about your journey.
Oh gosh. Well, I feel like I still probably have like 1,000 miles to go. But it's been amazing. It's the most amazing, beautiful pain I've ever experienced. It's I'm seeing how the two coexist together. You know, like you understand. Yeah. Yeah. I'm seeing how joy and pain are one in some ways. But you know, last year, 2022, I know I was interesting. You know, I try to keep a positive outlook. I try to speak positively. But if I didn't, I would have some choice words for 2022.
But is it just 2012? Was it 2019, 2020,
Well,
2021?
you know, I actually I enjoyed the shutdown. Really, I enjoyed it because it was weird. I remember, like I think like 2 or 3 months after we were like in closed doors, I remember walking outside and the sky looked clearer and the air
Yep.
felt
Yeah, remember that?
fresher, and I was like,
All the factories were closed.
yeah, I said the earth needed to heal.
Yep, we said that too.
It was the weirdest thing. But yeah, 2022 was very hard. It started off with me getting COVID. And then I'm an avid like athlete. I love to work out and things of that nature. So I got COVID, got over COVID, then I sprained my ankle. So I couldn't work out. And like working out is like it allows me to if I have frustrations, I can get it out and work. Release. Yeah, it's a release for me. And then 2 weeks into into me having a high ankle sprain, my father has a brain aneurysm. While at my daughter's soccer practice. So, you know, he's kicking around the ball and then someone screams out, "There's an old man that's fallen out." And then my daughter runs over and he's seizing.
Tell us about your dad.
Oh gosh. My dad was a wonderful human being. I'm honored to have come through him. He was an educator. He was a musician. He was a father to many children that, you know, have to traverse this life journey without one. He was a good friend. He was a musician. He was a writer. He was a lover of God. And I had to end with that one because that was the most powerful one. My memories of my father were, when I think of my father, the first thing I think of is morning worship. Not remember a morning that he did not spend hours with God. Like he would fall asleep on his knees sometimes. I would knock on his door and he would have fallen asleep. Like that was very important to him. And he played that out in the way in which he interacted with people. And he was such a giver. And he wouldn't speak a word about it. Like we found all these like tuition accounts he was paying on and foundations he was given to. And it was just like so much. But that's what, you know, he used to say that to me. He used to say, "Keisha, give, always give, always give. You think you've given, you can give more." Like literally, he used to say that to me. And I used to be like, why are you talking to me like I don't give? I give. Like I didn't understand what he was trying to do or, you know, but.
What was he trying to do, Keisha?
He was trying to teach me the foundation of this world. Like when God created us, you know, we survive off of each other. Like, so that the trees give off, oxygen, right? And we take that in, and then we breathe out, this carbon dioxide. It is a give and take. It is a reciprocation. And things get off kilter when you don't give, when you begin to be selfish. So, he was instilling that into me so that could be a part of my life all the time, because when you give, you receive. It is the two are one. So he was just trying to teach me the formula of having a good life, a happy life. I think that's what he was doing.
We survive off of each other. I think that's so powerful.
Yes,
it is. Absolutely. Keisha, I'm sitting here listening to, you describe your father and the things that he taught
Let it soak
you,
it, is it?
and the person that he was. And I hear the love, the admiration just kind of pouring out of you. And I'm struck by the fact that these pieces of your dad that you're sharing with us also come from a place of great pain, having lost him just recently. And I'm thinking back to, being at your daughter's soccer game and that scene playing out. And I just find myself, and I'm wondering, as I'm sure that somebody else will wonder, whether it's tonight or 6 months from now when they watch this, as you experienced that, that initial day, that first day.
Walk us through it.
What was that like for you?
Gosh.
And I know that's hard to ask, but what was that like?
No, it's fine. So that day, me and my dad worked together. I teach adjunct at a college. I own an educational servicing company, and then I also do like music and acting. So my dad and I worked at the college together. He was the embedded tutor in my class, and the business that we worked with together. He was a teacher at a school that we placed teachers, and then we also tutored together in the mornings at Ephesus Junior Academy. And so that morning he came in, and I don't know, he was being a father. And I had a hole in my pants, and I realized it after I left the house. And so, when you leave the house and you realize you're out, I'm going to try to hide it.
You're conscious.
Yes, I'm conscious of it. So, we're getting the kids lined up, to where they need to go. And he says, Keisha, in front of everyone, you have a hole in your pants.
Oh, man.
You should probably take care of that. And I say, thank you, Father. And I was irritated with him. I was so irritated with him. But, he was always trying to take care of me. But that's what a father does. And so I remembered he looked so tired that day. And I'm always, I call him, like, when I would see him from afar, I would be like, hello, Faja. I call him Faja. And so, but he seemed like really just tired. So I remember he sat down at one of the kids' desks, and normally he's like, okay, so what are we teaching them today? Where the lesson plans, where he's really very orderly individual. And so he was just tired. He didn't do that. And so, but he did point out the hole in my pants. It's funny. It's funny when I think about it now. And so then we separate into classes, and I'm on my crutches, and he's constantly trying to help me. And I looked at I didn't see it as, oh, he's a father just trying to help. I was like, he doesn't feel I can do it. I can do it. Although I'm on these crutches, I still, I don't need your help. I can figure it out. But he was just trying to help me. And so I remember he's like, let me take your bag. Let me walk you to your car after the day was over. And me just like, I got it. And I wish I sat a little bit more in that moment. But see, in my head, I was thinking, oh, he must think I'm not capable.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was playing to that versus he just wanted to help. Now, I mean, I just want to make sure everyone understands I don't have any guilt of that.
Mm-hmm.
That was an interaction that we had, and it was the moment.
Yeah.
And I believe if you are an intentful person and you really are looking to better yourself, you do the best you know how in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are taught something better, and then you do something better.
Yeah.
So that moment taught me to not be in my head and to cherish your interactions and be present. And so now I find myself being more present with my daughter, more just listening to what she's saying and not what my mind is saying.
Yeah.
And
Keisha,
so,
let me interrupt you for a second, because I think you just said something very, 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 very instructive and important. Because I was wondering, because I was waiting for you to slow down so we could go to work on that moment. And right when I was figuring in my head, all right, how do I articulate this? What's going on here? You said, no, I don't feel guilt.
Yeah.
What I did was I learned.
yeah.
How important is it? I remember like the night when my foster dad died. Well, he got sick that night. I was just a little kid. We were outside playing dominoes, and he had church people over. You know, this is rural Jamaica, and he was so angry. He got so angry that we were playing dominoes. And as you were talking, I was thinking about that, and I was so excited when I heard you say, "What I did was I learned from that. I don't carry guilt from that." Talk to us a little. I want you to go back and talk to us a little bit about the importance of learning from, should we say uncomfortable? Should we say, what language should we use to describe? Well, I'm gonna let you do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think uncomfortable is it? I mean,
Is it
like,
good?
there's different degrees of uncomfortable, right?
Mhm.
There's uncomfortable that is just like, and then there's uncomfortable where, oh, I can't even be present in the situation.
Mhm.
You know, it's because it's that uncomfortable. Now, my mind did want me to feel guilty for it. And what I say is that I say it like that because, you know, like how I see it or how I experience it is there is an emotion that I feel, and then there's a thought. Should you have like spoken, you know, not disregard your father? Why would you have done that? Do you know? And then the questions get deeper, you know, and the emotions get deeper. And so like I had those moments, and I have to say, no, I'm going to choose not to believe that because I know I did the best I knew how. I know that. And, you know, at that moment, all I saw was what my mind was trying to show me. And that's just what it was. That's just what the moment was, right? But I think, you know, what my dad always instilled in me was, okay, you may have made a mistake, but what can you get from that experience? What can you learn from that experience? Because, you know, if you don't learn from it, you will repeat it. So what I tell myself is, in uncomfortable situations, do I want to meet this again? Because ultimately, you know, I think about, and correct me if I'm saying the vision wrong. Ezekiel seeing gears within gears, and everything, and looking like confusion, right? But under it was the hand of God. So that tells me that these situations are so much bigger than what we understand, right? And it tells me that although I'm in deep despair, and many days it is hard to do what normally was easy to do, that he is in control.
Mm-hmm.
And if I believe what my father taught me, if I believe that there is a omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent force in which all that is able to exist, then I have to trust that he has brought me here for something greater. And I may not understand it now. And I don't. Many nights I ask God, why? But if there's anything that my father taught me that I hold on to, I trust there is something bigger than me that has created me and that loves me. But that doesn't mean that every step I take is going to be easy. That's not what love is. You know, love is doing what is needed for me to grow and actualize my best self.
Yeah.
Hold on, slow down. Love is doing what is needed for me to grow and actualizing my best self doesn't mean it's going to be easy. I want us to come back to that, Keish. But before we leave, I want for you to just talk to us for a quick second, because so many of us do it. We wallow in mistakes. We wallow in, I did this wrong. I didn't do well at work. I didn't do well on an assignment. I didn't achieve the best. What are the dangers of wallowing in pain? Not in pain. What are the dangers of wallowing in guilt? What are the dangers of living out of guilt?
The dangers I see just currently of living in, of walking out to guilt, hold on, say what you said again.
What are the dangers of being motivated by guilt?
Motivated by guilt. And sometimes you're motivated by guilt because you've decided to wallow in guilt. Okay. Now that is not to be harsh, but I think in order for you to gain victory over something is to understand the power that you hold, right? The power of choice, which is what God has given us. Now, sometimes things can be so blinding that it feels as if you can't choose. But we do choose to focus in on certain things. And if you choose to focus in on that, you would be blinded to what God is trying to show you on the outskirts of that.
If I choose to focus, if I choose to wallow in guilt, if I make a mistake and I choose for whatever reason, I want to punish myself. I want, what my wife says is, I want to give myself an excuse to continue in that behavior. Whatever the reason for wallowing in guilt is, I'm now missing what God has planned for me.
Definitely.
Wow.
Definitely, because that's all that you're looking at. And you have, I think what we have to understand is that when we stay focused in on one particular thing, it's like the mind is trying to redo. It says like, oh, if I just play this thing over, I can change what has already happened. No, you're just creating the same thing.
Because it is. So all I'm doing is reliving
it. You're just reliving it. But guess what? That moment has passed. There's nothing you can do about it. But there is something you could do going forward.
Yes.
And the best way to honor God, not yourselves, self, the best way to honor God is to say, yes, I did not do that moment. The to the I did not do that moment in a way that is completely Christ-like or God-centered. But I hear you
Yes.
and I am going to learn from it. And guess
Yes.
what, God? You are the amazing teacher, and I'm going to do the next moment how you would want me to. And I think if you keep with that energy, then you're going to approach God. You're going to approach the character that he wants to build in you, right? Because you're like, okay, it's like riding a bike. You fall off, you get back on, and you can go like 2 or 3 more pedals on, and then you fall, but you get back on. You don't stay down and keep on thinking about how you fell, 10 pedals back. You just keep on going forward, and you learn from it, and then you are a seasoned bike rider, right? And things can come your way. We're all going to be tempted. What goes up must go down. We're going to experience that. But I think what I'm learning is the trick is, what did Paul say? I'm content in all things.
Yes.
That is when I have lots of money, and that's when I have nothing. We have to be tested on all points. Like, that's just what it is. How are we to know that God is truly good if we do not experience him in all ways?
All right, let's. I want first to now go back to the growing, to the learning to grow. What love is. Love is being able to grow. I want for us to go back to that. So here we're in school, and here's the lesson number one. Well, lesson number one from earlier was, how do we get beauty and pain to be two sides of the same coin? I think we'll come back to that a bit later. But then number two was the idea that we don't wallow in guilt. We learn.
We learn from it, and because if you learn from it, then the next moment can be better. And we talked about this before the show started, and we said that they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and
the word of the testimony.
The word of the testimony. So when we learn, we have a testimony.
Yes. Yes. And this is a good point to say. Carl said, preach, Keisha. Yes, the word of their testimony. So when we learn, we have a testimony.
We have a testimony, and then we can help those that have come that are coming behind us.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I said I think about how we have progressed as a people socially in terms of civil rights, women equality. There is a spiritual component to that, right? And I try to make the connections, because if God is all has to be one in some way, And I feel like especially as Christianity has grown, and because Christianity is in terms of the history of this world, and then and Jesus coming and then when Bibles were allowed to for people to read, in terms of that, like, there was a lot of knowledge that we just did not have, right? So as we have gotten more clarity, and we've had different prophets to come, and just as we've dived more into scriptures and readings that help our spiritual growth, like, I feel like we're able to understand the word from a deeper place. I know just in my life, and maybe it's just also maturity, like I understand things, like I'm able to put to practice what I learned in school, and it means something deeper to me. So when we're looking at, us helping, learning, and helping those that come behind us, and how that ties into they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and their testimony. It's the testimony. It's, we learn, we grow from our experiences, and we see how God is at work in all things. And then when our children come along, we can teach them that, and maybe they can learn it a little bit, they don't have to learn it when they're 40. Maybe they can really see this when they're 20 and 50.
I was just saying that.
I'm in the world.
We're having some
Christ
internet.
coming back. There has to be.
We're having some internet issues, and this is some really, really good stuff. Hey, Keisha, if you can hear me, we're having some internet issues. Let's try and get that sorted out. Let's see if we can get it sorted out real quick.
Yeah.
But here she is. All right. So pick up from
Okay.
We can pass this on to our children.
Right.
All right, it's gone again. I'm sorry about that. What were you going to say?
While we're working on that end of things, I was thinking about just the whole discourse about what we can teach our children, what we can learn as we go through experiences. And I was thinking about, what I was learning from Keisha as she was sharing. And she really spoke really well about this idea of when we look at past moments with guilt or regret, to recognize that that's what we're doing, and
to say
make a conscious choice.
Right, she said we made a choice,
make
right?
A conscious choice.
So we chose to wallow in guilt, and so we need to make a conscious choice to not wallow in guilt.
Right. And I was also thinking about, the fact that, that discussion came out of her talking about the loss of her dad, and that last interaction that they had, those last days moments. And I was thinking that guilt is not something that we often talk about when as it relates to loss. We don't necessarily talk about, gosh, the I wishes, the regrets, the things that we would have wanted to do different. And she's so right that, yes, I may have wanted those things to be different, or I may have wanted those moments to look different, but I also acted out of what I knew best to do at the time.
I think that was really powerful.
Yeah.
Hey, Keish, could you now talk to us about what love is? Because I think that was I had cut you off because I wanted to go back to deal with that guilt thing, but I want for us to talk about what love is. And because I think you hit the nail on the head about that growth piece, wanting what's best, even though sometimes it doesn't feel good. Talk to us.
No, yeah. Gosh, I honestly feel I'm just learning what love is. Like I'm honestly feeling like I'm just seeing it. I think love is the foundation that allows everything to exist. And it says that I am here to support you and be with you and see you reach your fullest potential unconditionally. And unconditionally is important because it says this support, this energy that is the foundation of everything, is going to make sure you have the best. And I'm not asking for anything in return.
Yeah.
I don't need you to do anything for me to pour this out for you. And that is what God is. And he provides that to those who work with him and those who don't,
Was your dad teaching you that lesson in
Oh gosh.
give? Was that the lesson that he was teaching you?
Yes, definitely. He was teaching me to give, even if you're not given back to in the way that you want to be given to. Because God will always provide.
Mm-hmm.
So you give and you do, not expecting anything in return.
Mm-hmm.
Not expecting even a kind word.
Mm-hmm.
And he taught me that some of the best giving is giving without people knowing that you've given.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that comes from a very sincere place. Because you're not expecting anything in return. So love is so much. I don't even know if I can really define it, to be honest with you. Like, I'm just really understanding, and I'm not even understanding it. I'm just learning. I'm experiencing it. Yeah, I'm experiencing it and trying to put words to it, and doing my best to live it out in every day with people that I interact with. I try to do this. I say, how would I want to be treated?
Mm-hmm.
How would I feel if I were in their predicament? I think that's an expression of love. So empathy, sympathy, I think it all rests within love. We have empathy for others because we love. I'm going to try to, yeah.
That unconditional peace, and you would have experienced that from your dad, of course. And it's 9:45. The clock hates us. That unconditional peace can become burdensome. No.
No, I think it's freeing. Actually, it's freeing because you're not expecting anything and you're not holding anyone like in prison or because they did not give to you what you thought they should because you did this for them.
Yeah. Or not holding yourself in prison.
Or holding yourself prison. It says, it's freeing because it's like, I do not, when it's unconditional, you are just simply enjoying the experience of being a blessing for someone else.
That's good.
That's it.
That's good. It's not a contract.
It's not a contract.
Yeah.
Because when it becomes a contract, then you feel bad about what you did. Well, should I have done that for them?
Yep.
You know what I mean? But so it's like, I'm going to give to you and yay. Thank you, God, for using me. And I say that. I say that to God because he could be using someone else. But how amazing is it for God to say, I gave you this $100, but guess what? It really wasn't for you. It was because I want you to experience blessing this person and seeing how joyful they feel because you gave. And then you can see what it's like to be me because I give to you all the time, So I think, I'm learning that. I'm learning to enjoy the experience and not expecting anything back because I snapped at people. I made I alienated myself from people when I loved conditionally. But when I
Of
love
course.
unconditionally, the world is my oyster. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm whether you want to love me back or not, I'm just giving it to you, and I feel good about it.
Yeah.
So I'm learning that,
Yeah.
and actually, I'm learning that through my dad's death.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot through his death.
Carl says that's why love is foundational to our lives.
Yes.
Take us back. Go ahead.
Keisha, you added the piece just
Yes.
now that I'm learning that through my
Yes.
dad's death. I want, just for a moment, doesn't have to be a long moment,
Mhm.
but I know that you are now speaking to somebody who's going through their own loss. Somebody who is sitting in the same proverbial chair that you're sitting in, who
Vivian just lost her
maybe
mom.
who maybe
Mm.
doesn't quite see that or feel that yet. What do you want to say to that person about learning to love in this way?
I would say, experience your pain, but understand your pain is simply there because the love was great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The pain is there because the loss was great.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a loss that didn't matter, would there be no pain?
Yeah.
Right? So that means you were given something really good.
Mm-hmm.
And there's thankfulness in that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can decide
There it is.
to focus on the thankfulness,
Mm-hmm.
God will heal your heart.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say it would be easy. We learn these phrases because they are real, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I truly see the beauty of God in my dad's death.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is in his absence that I see more clearly how great of a gift he was to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am who I am because of him.
Yes.
I can do what I can speak, I can articulate.
Mm-hmm.
These are things we take for granted, but we are taught this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We are taught everything that we do. There is
Yes.
nothing that we can do on our own. We come in the world as empty slates.
Mm-hmm.
And in his absence, I see what amazing gift I was given, and a gift that showed me how to live a life of service,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me a happy individual.
Yes.
He showed me how to trust in something beyond myself.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, I am able to make it through these times and see that there is something that sustains me when I have a lot and when I have a little,
Mm-hmm.
which tells me this is something that I can depend on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
And I want for us to still come back to contentment. But I want to ask you this. What is the danger of confusing the gift and the giver of the gift? And I want for you to just think back on what we were talking about before we started.
No, yeah, I can tell you. As soon as you said that, it came right to my brain, because that's what it was. And I realized that, okay, the giver of the gift is in control of all and gave you the gift to shine a light back on the giver. Now, when I thought, I have my my morning. I have my morning devotions almost all the time, right?
Mhm.
You know, I I talk to God constantly throughout my day. But when my dad died, I felt unsafe in the world. I felt that my security was gone.
Mhm.
I felt that my protector was no longer here. And I realized that I attributed to my dad things that I should have rested in the hands of God.
Mhm.
And it wasn't till my dad passed that I realized that. I realized I didn't really trust that God was going to sustain me and keep me with, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm pretty much most of the things I do, and as an entrepreneur, it's like the buck stops with you, right?
Mhm.
But God commissioned me to do this, right? So I must do it in faith, knowing that He will provide. But to be honest, I was like, well, it doesn't matter because if things go south, my dad will be there.
Mhm.
If I get a flat tire, no, it's not the God that'll order everything to work out. No, my dad will be there. I'll just call him and he'll come and help me out. If I'm trying to manage, as I'm a single mom, if I'm trying to manage things with my job and my business and I need help with my dad, no, it isn't God that works it out. No, it's my dad that helps me.
Yeah.
Because these were ways in which he was very woven into my life. But now, okay, God, I need you to work this out for me. And I sit back and guess what? He does.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that everything happens how I think it should. Now, most of the times I'm learning that what I think is crazy. It's not even that smart, He has a plan that's just more amazing and far beyond what I could ever imagine. And when I sit back and stop getting frustrated with things not happening the way I want them to and just see how they are working out, I just say, oh my gosh. This is an amazing energy, a God, whatever, everything that I serve, because I would have never thought about it that way. Yeah. And so I realized that, I'm sorry, anytime I say it, it hurts so bad. I realized that my dad had to die for me to actualize a deeper relationship with God. And that kills me to say it. It kills me because I love my father and I want him here with me. But I know I am here for a greater purpose. And if it meant that my dad had to die for me to truly see God, then let it be so. And to say that crushes me. It crushes me, but what is getting me through is knowing that I am here to serve God. And I am here to evolve spiritually. And if God has let something be, then there is a reason for it. And I have to be patient and I have to be in prayer to allow God to heal me. And if he chooses to show me why in this life, thank you. But if not, I will understand it better by and by. And I believe that to my core. And that is what gets me through.
Yeah.
My dad taught me that.
Yeah. Yeah.
sounds like you're still learning lessons
Oh gosh,
from
every
him.
day,
Mhm.
every day, I feel so alone in this time in my life. Extremely lonely. He was my guy. We were best friends. But I had to get to a place of loneliness so I could see God.
Mhm.
Because I wasn't seeking him to the depths that I thought I was.
Mhm.
And I see that now. So that's just what it is.
You shared from such a real and authentic place tonight, Keisha. And I'm so grateful that you did. Because this is it, right?
Yeah.
These are the places where we try to show up in the way that we should. When
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
fact, the experiences that we have, the things that we go through, how we make it through is exactly what you're talking about. It's the ups and downs. It's being able to be grateful, yet feel the pain of loss,
Yeah.
be able to notice the experience of God, even though I'm experiencing pain. It's all of
Yeah.
it, right?
It really is. It really is. And my dad was a competitor, right? And he
Yeah.
taught me, I was in sports a lot of my life. And so in sports, you learn to press through hard times
Yes.
because you want the goal of the win, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I say. It's hard, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm going to go through it and I'm going to go through it and I'm going to have some jewels on my crown because what did they say? What did we start off with? They overcame by the blood of the
Blood of the
lamb
Lamb,
And the
the word
word
of
of
their
their
and the word of their
testimony.
testimony.
testimony. So if I can be authentic to the moment
Mm-hmm.
and show you what I'm learning, mistakes, flaws and all,
Mm-hmm.
then that and help someone on their journey, then I had to go through it. So I want some jewels in my crown if I had to go through it.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
I'm
right.
just
That's right.
saying.
That's right.
Just saying.
Yeah.
We're out of time, Keisha, but I
Okay.
don't want to leave you without contentment, without um talking to us about the process of learning to be contented, learning to have much, have little, have none. What's that process like?
That's a good question. You're having me really think and dive into that. So for me, the process was first learning that who I am, what not even what I was made to be, but yeah, who I am, the foundation of who I am is not lessened by what I have,
Right.
right? So I am not a better person because I have a lot of money, and I'm not a lesser person because I have no money. And and I've experienced both. You know, I've 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 been on food stamps before. I've had to journey that, right? It doesn't feel great. And
But
I've
I'm not
but
less of a person.
but I'm not less of a person. I have been provided for just in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Not maybe not how I want to have what I have, but I've been provided for.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that, God. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've experienced the other side, having lots of money, being able to go out whenever I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a greater person because of that. Thank you for providing it, God, in this way.
Mhm.
I think when we stop putting limits or requirements on how we receive from God, we can experience a better life because we're not shaming ourselves or angry with God because it doesn't look how we want it to look.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting experiences. Like, God, I don't want to rent anymore. I want to buy my own home. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know, and putting it before God and asking, and He says, "Ask, you'll receive."
But
You
I'm
know?
not valuing myself.
But I'm
based
not
on
valuing myself based upon it, because if I experienced it all, then it can't be me. It is just an experience.
that. Mm.
So if that's what it is, how can I value myself by the
So,
change of that? That change. Like,
Woo.
it's like putting on a different pair of clothing,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It's and so I think that was the first process, learning who
To value me.
value me. And I value me because if I was thought of, sometimes I sit in the mirror and I think about this. Keisha was thought of
My God.
by divine.
Yes, that's good.
How many
That's good.
possibilities for this infinite? So I'm a math teacher. So I have to dive into this concept of negative infinity to positive infinity.
Yes.
And in between every number, there is infinite numbers, right?
Mhm.
Because there's always a 0.9 and a 0.999 and
Yeah.
a 0.99999, right?
Yeah.
And so if this infinite force thought of me,
Woo.
gosh, I must be special.
Yes, Lord.
No, like really meditate on that. Like when you think of the number pi, like I know a lot of schools are going to be doing this. 3.14, March 14th is Pi Day. Pi is a never-ending number, right? It's an irrational number, right?
Mhm.
It just goes. All right, if we have numbers that do that, how much bigger is this entity that has allowed me to exist? And I was thought of. Oh my gosh. I must be amazing. I
That's
sit and
good.
I think about that in the mirror. And everyone really should, because it really is that. It's that.
This is good.
How many people are on this earth? I don't know, like a little over a billion. Numbers are infinite. That's not a lot. So for you to be included in that number, oh man, that's amazing.
That's good.
That's amazing.
That's good. That was good. That Keish. we'll come back and end it in a second. And okay,
Okay.
move on. We didn't have everybody's just soaking it in. Participate. Well, let's see who won our prize tonight. We'll come right
Ooh.
back, Keish. Who won
Okay.
our prize, Anne?
Well,
That was good.
while we're spinning that wheel, so you know what you won tonight is a gift card to our store. So you get to check that out and how you collect your winnings. Rosabelle Martin is by going on to www.kwministries.net/claim your prize, enter your information, and instructions will follow. Congratulations, Rosabelle.
Didn't you win last week?
That's all right. It's a random
Congrats,
draw.
congrats,
She gets to
congrats.
win 2 weeks. in a row.
Congrats. Keisha, I thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for giving us that special two-faced coin,
Mhm.
pain and beauty.
Yes.
Thank you for telling us not to choose, not to wallow in what was uncomfortable, but to decide to grow. Thank you for telling us that love must be unconditional and the freedom of enjoying unconditional love. Thank you for talking to us about contentment that starts with believing that I have intrinsic value,
Yes.
and then recognizing that the infinite God
Mm-hmm.
thought of me.
Yeah.
I must be something amazing. Thank you, Keith. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. This was healing for me. Like every time I'm able to cry it out and get
Yes.
more out, I'm like, you know what? I've healed just a little bit more. So thank you. I appreciate it.
I think this was healing for all of us.
I think so too. I think so too. Guys, if it's Monday night, you are with KW
KW.
Ministries.
Have a wonderful night. Congrats, Sister Rose.